What's going on, guys? BossBoy6 here, back to another video, and today here to give you guys yet another collection update video for you guys. And it's only been about a few weeks since I did my last collection update video, but I got this one done a little bit quicker than I thought I was going to. But yeah, here for another collection update video, and then gonna keep continuing until I can't no more. So got a mixture of some old and new stuff here. Some of them I did reviews for, and some of them I talked about in rankings. So, yeah, this one's probably not going to be too much of a long video, but we shall see. You never know with me. But, yeah, without further ado, let me, shit, my thing, my computer decided to go to sleep on me, or my laptop, I should say. Come on, load. Thank you very much. All right, we got that all set up. So, without further ado, let's get into this batch of CDs. So we kick off with an album I talked about earlier this year, Alter Bridge, self-titled. This is the newest studio offering from this Orlando-based hard rock. I would now call them a metal act per se. They've been kind of on the cusp of the metal spectrum for a while now, but I feel like this really got them the metal cred that I feel like the band has been kind of looking for a while now. But yeah, if you guys have seen my review for this album, you guys know I love this album. This is some really damn good stuff right here. Again, embracing the more metallic side of their style. Matt Tremonti just absolutely crushed it on the riffs. Miles Kennedy just belting out some really damn good stuff. And from top to bottom, this is just some killer stuff right here. And some of these tracks, honestly, have been in my daily rotation whenever I go on a walk or whatever. Has been in my daily rotation, honestly. But the opening track, Silent Divide, really kicks off the album. I love the melodies in particular. I got a bit of a mood to it as well, but Rue the Day, Power Down, Disregarded, Tested, Enable, What Are You Waiting For? Slave to Master, that's a full-on Dream Theater song. It's a very progressive song, and it's the longest song they've ever done at over 9 minutes, but it doesn't feel like it's 9 minutes. It just flows by quickly. Hang by a Thread's awesome too, but What Lies Within legit is one of the best songs I've heard all year. I just love how dark that song is in particular. Yeah, just killer stuff all around. I'm not sure if it's in my top 10 right now, maybe on the verge of like top 15 maybe per se, but yeah, this is just some killer shit right here from these guys. Again, I've been a fan of these guys for a while now, mainly because I'm a wrestling fan, but killer shit right here. Absolutely amazing stuff right here. Banger of an album. Can't wait to talk about this on the year-end list. So, next up, finally, I'm talking about these two albums considering I just got done talking about Ozzy a couple days ago. The final two Ozzy albums of the 70s. We have 1976. Yeah, 1976 is Technical Ecstasy, and 1978's Never Say Die. So, we have entered the end of an era for Black Sabbath, mainly the Ozzy era. And, yeah, this era has been kind of hampered as time has gone on by the fan base. And I can understand why that is the case, because this is vastly different from what they were doing beforehand with, Sabbath, Blaze Sabbath, and especially Sabotage, where they were going through some experimentation at the time, especially Sabbath, Blaze Sabbath, and, Sabotage was just a full-on, aggressive rock record. These two kind of were a precursor to a lesser extent, of Van Halen at this point, even though Van Halen was starting around that time as well. And, of course, this little genre by the name of punk was starting to come up around this time as well, so yeah, they were trying to adapt to the style at the time, and it didn't really congeal with the audience as well. And I'll start off with Technical Ecstasy, which is probably the worst album cover of their career, which is kind of saying something if you look at the Born Again album cover, but it's like a description of two robots having sex. There you go. I know a lot of people shit on this album because it's, quote, not really a Sabbath album per se. I personally don't mind it. I kind of respect it for what it is, but on the Sabbath spectrum as a whole, it's on the bottom end, but I still enjoy some tracks on this album, like Backstreet Kids is a hell of an opening track. You Won't Change Me, probably one of the more underrated Sabbath tracks and one of my personal favorite of the Ozzy era. It's Alright features Brian May of Queen, which that kind of does feel like a Queen song in all actuality. All Moving Parts, Stand Still is a bit of a deep cut. Dirty Women, that's a banger of a song right there. And I kind of like the story of how that song came to be, where they were in the middle of LA and they see Geezer Butler just looks at all of these women around here and he's like, huh, look at all these whores. Let's make a song about it. Dirty Women. So there you go. Now, the one track that is very divisive amongst the Sabbath fan base is Rock and Roll Doctor. I kind of like it. Now, it's dumb as hell, but I enjoy how catchy it is. That just might be me. If people hate it, I'm not really going to argue it. It's just how I am personally. But I do think there are some gems on this album, but in terms of the Sabbath albums as a whole, one of the weaker ones. But I still enjoy it for what it is. Now, with Never Say Die, yeah, it's towards the bottom for me. It just feels like B-sides to Technical Ecstasy. The first three tracks are great. Everything else is just either forgettable or just not that interesting. The title track's fun. I love Johnny Blade. That's a hell of a song, even though it's a kind of messy song in terms of how it's structured. I enjoy it for what it is. In Junior's Eyes is really damn good as well, which talks about Ozzy's dad. Now, I talked about this in my Sabbath and in my Ozzy rankings, but this was around the time where Ozzy was in and out of the band at this point. I believe he went to a mental institution around this time. Then he left, and he came back, and then the whole thing with Dave Walker, Fleetwood Mac thing came in. Of course, the demos that are still out on YouTube are out there. But yeah, you could tell this is a changing of the guard for Sabbath, and this will be the last of the Ozzy era before Ozzy would make some sporadic appearances here and there. The thing with Live Aid in '85, and then inadvertently causing the breakup of the Dio era in the '90s. Good job, Ozzy, and then coming back for 13 in 2013, and then calling it a career essentially up until basically Ozzy passed away, which I've already made my piece on that when I talked about my Ozzy ranking. But yeah, I guess it was unique to get all of the Sabbath albums of the 70s. The only two, or actually the only three albums I need from the Sabbath catalog, rethinking about it, I need Born Again, let's see, what was the other one? Seven Star and Dehumanizer. That's literally all I need. In Heaven and Hell, The Devil You Know, I kind of consider that a Sabbath album in some ways. It's basically Sabbath without the Sabbath name. But I basically just need those four albums, basically the three under the Black Sabbath moniker, essentially. And I basically have all the Sabbath albums because I don't know if y'all can tell, but right there, I don't know if y'all can see what I'm pointing to. There's a little black box right there that is the Anno Domini box set, which basically, except for one album, which is Eternal Idol, from, was it 89 to 95, talks about all of the Tony Martin era albums for Sabbath. So that's pretty cool right there. But yeah, you know, a bit of an interesting point in the band's career. You could say it was a bit of a dark period, which I can agree to an extent, but I still really enjoyed this. I enjoy this album for what it is. This album, it's whatever. But yeah, it's a bit of a unique period for Sabbath at that point. So I guess mild recommendations for those albums as a whole, but mainly for Technical Ecstasy. All right. Next up here, I have a reissue, and I know my good buddy Levi is going to like me for this one. Dan Swano's Moon Tower. This is a reissue from 1999. This is a one-off project from Dan Swana, who's, I believe, was still doing stuff with Edge of Sanity around this point, I believe. And this was one of his side projects where he was experimenting more into progressive death metal territory, kind of similar to what Opeth was doing around this point with experimenting the keys and, you know, the more lush melodies and all that stuff. And I didn't know what to really expect on this album, other than I heard, you know, Levi has been clamoring for a reissue for this thing for years because it was hinted that it was going to be a reissue. And, you know, I finally got my hands on it, and I gotta say, pretty fucking good stuff right here, in all honesty. Like, this is some really damn good stuff, and honestly, for a progressive death metal album, this thing ain't that long in actuality. This thing is like a little under 45 minutes, and, you know, a lot of catchy shit, get in and get out, and just put out some really damn good stuff. A bit of an underrated gem of the 90s right here. Sun the Night's awesome. I love Patchworks. Uncreation, Creating Illusions is very nice. The Big Sleep is a heavy hitter for me. Inner Counterparts is awesome, and Empty Phrases is cool too. And even the bonus track, if you will, their cover of Melissa, originally done by Merciful Fate, really damn good cover. I really like that. I love Swano's vocals on that song in particular as well. And the second disc, because this is a 2-disc, is actually the 97 and 98 demos. So that's pretty cool right there. So yeah, a little bit of an album cover slit right there. So yeah, cool stuff. Really enjoyed this one as well. So yeah, good job, Century Media. You did some really damn good stuff with this one. Yeah, check this bad boy out. I highly recommend this one. This is some really damn good stuff right here. Alright, next up, an album from a band that I just can't stop collecting albums from, which I'm not sure if that's a bad thing per se. Dying Fetus, Killing on Adrenaline. This, I think, is the second studio album from these brutal death metal, kind of early grind band. This is a 2010 reissue from Relapse, and yeah, I'm continuing my Dying Fetus collection here, if you will. I do like this one a little bit more than Purification Through Violence. I think this one is a little more refined. Production's still not the best. It's still a little more raw and unpolished, but I think the songwriting got a little bit better. I like the riffs a little bit more, and John Gallagher just absolutely crushes it. Wait, is it John Gallagher or Jack Gallagher? I always get those, or not Jack Gallagher. Hold up. Let me look it up really quick. I have the thing popped up here. Yeah, Baltimore, Maryland. Let's see. It is John Gallagher. Okay. I keep getting it mixed up because there are some, the Gallagher brothers from Raven. I can't remember what their names are, but I believe one of them is named, Jack as well, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, this is some, pretty damn good stuff right here. Again, not their best. I think they got better after this album, but this is still some pretty damn good stuff right here. Like the title track in particular, Procreate the Malformed, Fortification Terrorist, We Are Your Enemy is awesome. Track 5, I don't feel like saying that, is just gross. That's pretty cool stuff. Judgment Day in intentional manslaughter as opposed to unintentional manslaughter. And this has some bonus tracks. One is a rehearsal demo from 97, and the other one is from Germany in 1998. So, yeah, really damn good stuff right here. Again, probably if I were to rank Dying Fetus one day, it'll probably be a little bit lower on the ranking, because I do think they made albums that were better than this one. But still, they're continuing their sound and continuing their style, and they would just continue to crush. And the album cover's kind of cool too, with the American flag having like burnt like cigarette holes in it, and it's got like gears crushing it, which is kind of unique. Pretty good stuff right here. Really enjoyed this album right here. Oh boy, man, this next album, I got this album specifically for collection purposes only. And spoiler, spoiler, when I do my year-end ranking, this is probably going to be the worst album of the year. Exodus Goliath. This is the latest offering from these Bay Area thrash legends, and my God, how do you fuck up a near flawless discography by putting out this turd right here? I did a review of this thing. I was a little skeptical going into it because the first single was alright, but it turns out the single that they put out was probably the one of the better parts of this pile of nothing, because good God, this album sucks. Like, it sucks. I'm sorry. This is not a good album. I wanted to like it, but unfortunately I did not. And this is just a pile of shit if you ask me. Like, people still think this is somehow better than Force of Habit. I completely disagree, because at least with Force of Habit, at least there were riffs on that album. The riffs on here are unbelievably stock and generic, and I would have to say the words of stock generic riffs and Gary Holt in a similar sentence, but 2026 says hold my fucking melons, because good God, this album is just bland and uninteresting. And it sucks too, because they were coming off of a damn good stretch of albums, like, you know, Exhibit B, The Human Condition, which was really good. Blood and Blood Out was solid. Persona non grata was a ripper. And they put out this steaming pile of shit. Now, I guess Gary Holt has stated in interviews that he had enough material to make 2 albums. If the other album is anything like this, then I have a lot of questions with Exodus in their future, because this is not it, Chief. This is not it at all, because there's a couple of tracks that are kind of salvageable, but it's very few and far between. Like 3111, which talks about the Mexican cartel, is not a half bad opener. The title track is a bit doomy, which, like, some of the doomier moments I kind of found a little more intriguing on this album. Summon of the God Unknown is okay, but there's a bunch of random shit on this album, and Rob Duke's vocals, I know a lot of people tend to shit on it. They're not great, but they are far from the problem on this album. Just, the songwriting's terrible. The lyrics are fucking trash. Like, again, this is Gary Holt. This dude knows how to write songs. I don't know if he was just on autopilot or he had to use ChatGPT for this, but I don't know what the hell happened. You know, just all this stuff's bad, including the 2 back-to-back just full-on slobber knockers that are 2 minutes hate and violence works. AI-generated bullshit trash lyrics. I don't know what they were going for with that, but good God, that's terrible. The album cover kind of sucks too, if I'm being completely honest, but yeah, that is how you leave a bit of a stain on a damn near flawless discography. 101 right there, guys. Yeah, no, it's not good. And again, it's probably going to be the worst album of the year for me. I know some people have said some other albums are bad, but from the ones I have listened to, that is the one that takes the cake. So yeah, fuck that album. Yeah, the new Exodus sucks. Moving on, we are to another dual CD here. I got 2 Judas Iscariot albums: 1996's Thy Dying Light, which is a 2021 reissue, and 2002's To Embrace the Corpse's Bleeding. These were both kind of blind buys, actually. I just randomly grabbed them from the record store. And I was a little bit shocked, along with another album I'll be talking about here later. I was actually kind of shocked to see at the record store. So, yeah, Thy Dying Light, this is their second studio album and released in the same year as their debut. You know, I've heard a little bit of Judas Iscariot before this one. This is a band from Illinois, which is a little bit interesting. And I've heard some, you know, good stuff about this band, and I've been meaning to check out their other stuff here. But I got the two albums here, and Thy Dying Light, you know, I don't really like to shit on, you know, a band that's starting out per se, particularly their second album, but this one is a little too paint by numbers. Like, it's just kind of run of the mill black metal, more atmospheric black metal, like very, you know, thin production. You know, the songs are kind of just drawn out, going for the more atmosphere and the long ass song titles, which is probably one of the best things on this entire album. It's not all terrible, but it's just not that interesting to me personally. Like, there's a couple decent moments here and there, but just kind of put it on the background and kind of creep people out, and that's what you really get with this album here. So, not terrible, but nothing that exciting as well. But then we get to actually the last studio album, To Embrace the Corpse's Bleeding, that came out in 2002. Now, 9-day difference between this and the album that I just mentioned here, because the songwriting got a lot better, the production really got better, the vocals are a little more smoother. I love the riffs on this album, and I think the drum performance is fucking great for the most part. And the songs themselves, I think, kick so much ass. Like, I Awoke to a Night of Pain and Carnage is awesome. I kind of love the variations of some different songs. Like, you get some more down-paced affairs, like In the Valley of Death, I Am Their King, and the Dead Burst Forth from Their Tombs is really damn good stuff as well. But you get some more, you know, blast beaty songs like Bathed in Clouds of Blood and, you know, Spectral Dance of the Macabre, which, that's a killer song too, but the only problem I have with that song is that it's way too fucking short. I felt like if they could have cut some time off on a couple of songs and add a couple of minutes to that song, that would have been probably the big standouts of this album. But Where Eagles Cry and Vultures Laugh are the standout track, with Lust and Murder for Our Drink is pretty cool too, and Behold the Lamb of God Descending is another killer song as well. Yeah, there's just some killer shit right here, man. And it kind of sucks it's their last studio album, but I think the front man had some other things going on as well, because this is essentially a one-man project, essentially, because, Andrew Harris was the guy's name, and Cryptic Winter was the session drummer for this album, and he drums his ass off, I'll give him that, but, good stuff right here, really damn good stuff. Again, these two albums, it's a night and day difference between these two, but killer stuff right here, really damn good stuff. So I give the Thy Dying Light a kind of a meh recommendation, but To Embrace the Corpse's Bleeding, I do give a recommendation as a whole. Alright, so moving on from there, we have an album that I talked about when it came out, and one that I had some expectations going in as well. Kreator, Crushers of the World. Excuse me. This is the latest studio offering from these German thrash metal legends. I've kind of talked about Kreator and their trajectory in the coming years, basically stating that while the direction they're going in isn't bad, it just hasn't really stood out to me as much. Like, the last 3 albums have just been fine for what they are, but just haven't really done a whole lot for me. Like, the last one I really did enjoy was Phantom Antichrist, and that was when they were kind of going in a more epic direction, but there was still more thrash on the album. This one is a bit of a step up above Hate Uber Alice, but I feel like it's kind of on the same boat in some comparison. Now, there are some more, you know, thrash-oriented riffs on this album, but not a whole lot to, you know, give it, like, a big stamp of approval for me. Like, it's just solid for what it is, but nothing more. Like, the first 3 tracks, they are what they are, you know, that, you know, big, you know, triumphant, you can do it style, which I don't mind that, but I feel like you can kind of, you know, switch up the track listing, like have a big anthemic, you know, you can do it song, and next thing you know, there's a thrash song that's gonna rip your throat out, and then kind of, you know, balance it out a little bit, because you just do it 3 in a row, or I would say 4 in a row, actually, you're gonna lose interest in the album quickly. But then Barbarian hits, and that's when shit starts getting good. That's back to the thrash. really damn good stuff. Letter of Blood, solid. Psychotic Impetrator is pretty good as well. Death Scream's a standout. Loyal to the Grave is pretty solid. It's a solid album. I'm not going to shit on it, but I kind of wish that Creator would kind of go back to their thrash style. There's nothing wrong with a little bit more accessibility, but they're kind of going in the same direction as Arch Enemy is going, but I don't think as far as Arch Enemy in a way. I'll talk about Arch Enemy in a separate video idea that I have for them, but a little bit of a spoiler. But in the end, solid album, nothing more. It'll probably rank around the same ranking that I had for Hate Over Alice, but maybe a little bit above that. But it's solid, but nothing spectacular to me. I do like the album cover. The album cover does look pretty cool, I will admit. But as a whole, it's alright. Nothing more, nothing less. Alright, so the another album that I had, which I did a ranking for, and one that's going to be on my year-end list, or not a ranking, a review. This is going to be on my year-end list as well, and that is the new Monstrosity album, Screams from Beneath the Surface. This is the latest studio offering from these Florida death metal underground legends. You know, they're more remembered for helping start the career of a young corpse grinder who eventually became a Cannibal Corpse. But holy shit, this band came back with a fury of great stuff right here, because they made an album, I think in 2018, I believe, and they kind of laid low for a little bit, and then they came out with this bad boy, and I wasn't sure what to expect from this one, because I did jam some of the early stuff, mainly Millennial, and that was a really damn good album. And I'll have to go back and jam some more of the early stuff, like, you know, Spiritual Apocalypse, In Dark Purity, what was the other one? Imperial Doom's another big standout I hear. I need to go back and jam their earlier stuff, but holy shit, this thing is incredible from start to finish. And I thought for a minute when they, with the opening track, Banished to the Skies, I thought they were going to go more of a melodic direction. Not necessarily. They just went for a straight ahead, go for the throat, just in your face death metal, and I love this album. Not sure if it's going to be top 10. It might, depending on how the rest of the year plays out. But this is some damn good stuff right here. I really, really enjoyed this album. The aforementioned Banished to the Skies, The Colossal Rage is a ripper of a song. The Atrophied, Spiral, Fortunes Engraved in Blood is just vicious. Vapors is awesome. The Thorns, Bloodworks, Vial of Disillusion is a bruiser of a track, and The Dark Aura is really damn good as well. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about that one. I love the album cover too. The album cover looks pretty cool. Yeah, this is just some killer stuff from these guys right here. You know, death metal veterans just cranking out a killer death metal album. What a novel concept. Yeah, killer stuff. Not much more we really need to say about this one. Killer stuff right there. Alright, so another album that came out this year, and one I had some expectations for, because you never know with this guy personally, but you kind of do know once you get into the gist of it. Rob Zombie, The Great Satan. This is the latest studio offering from Rob Zombie's solo career, and I was a little, I guess, intrigued to see what the follow-up to the Kool-Aid Eclipse, the Lunar Eclipse Kool-Aid, the Kool-Aid, what was it called again? Actually, hold up, let me, what was it titled again? The Lunar Ejection Kool-Aid Eclipse Conspiracy. There we go. That was going to come in handy one way or the other. But anyways, yeah, this was the follow-up to that album, which I thought was a solid album, but nothing too spectacular except for a song or two. This one, however, I felt like is more of a throwback to the old Rob Zombie, like mainly like Hellbilly Deluxe and all that stuff. And I would say this is probably his best album since his debut in actuality, because there's a lot of stuff on this album that I really, really enjoyed on this album. And kind of goes back to the more heft on this album, because you had some returning members coming back to the fray for this one as well. But FTW 1984 is a fun song. That's a nice, catchy song. Tarantula is awesome. Heathen Days, oh my god. That is just a ripper of a track. That's like a little over 2 minutes. Black Rat Coffin is catchy. Punks and Demons is just, very fist pump affair. The Devil Man, that is legit one of the catchiest songs he's ever done. Like, I love that chorus in particular. Revolution Motherfuckers is fun. The Black Scorpion, I would have marked out so hard if at one point during the song, either at the beginning, the middle, or the end of it, that at one point Rob Zombie would have just had a sample of the Black Scorpion angle for you WCW fans. Sting, I knew you come. I would have marked out hard. And how is that song not the ultimate theme song to Danhausen? Because you are cursed. I think I did it right. If not, I sincerely apologize. Please don't sue me. Anyways, yeah, that's a killer song. That's a minute and a half of just nothing but just chaotic, frantic fun. I will say, though, the last two tracks is so underwhelming. Like, they completely blue-balled the end of this album because it's like, you couldn't have ended it off with the Black Scorpion. You just had to have a very bland, industrial-filled, like, fucking goth-ravey song like Unclean Animals, and Grave This Content is just nothing. It's a nothing song. You had to end it off on that. Come on, Rob, you're better than that. But I'll say right here, right now, I'm not sure if it's going to be my year-end list. It might be an honorable mention, but I can't help but, I gotta say, I enjoyed it for what it was. It's a Rob Zombie album. You're going to have a blast no matter what, unless it's Educated Horses. Heard that album's not that good. But I thought it was a great album. Again, probably not going to be a year-ender, but I enjoyed it. I really, really, really enjoyed it for what it was. So, yeah, good stuff right there. All right. Next up, and the last of the recent releases that I have for my a collection update here, and one I actually did a review of, and I actually almost forgot about this album until I got reminded of it. Temple of Void, The Crawl. This is the latest studio offer from this Detroit-based death metal, death doom, I guess now sludge act. Like, this thing is a full-on sludge metal album. Like, this is essentially Baroness and Mastodon had a weird love child. That's essentially what this album is, and coming off of where they coming from prior with, what was their last album called? Summoning the Slayer, which I actually did listen to. I believe I talked about that when I did my review for this album. That was a killer album right there as well. And you notice a big shift in this album, and it kind of takes you a bit off guard, but I like how well crafted this album is. Like, it wasn't just like a half-assed, like, oh, we're going to make this Baroness, like, weird sludge metal album. No, they embraced it, and honestly, I can really respect the fact that they embraced the kind of weird experimentation that they were going for at the time. But yeah, top to bottom, this is some killer shit right here. Like, Poison Icon, that is a hell of an opening track. Godless Cynic, the title track is great. Thy Mountain Eternal is awesome. That feels like a full-on Mastodon song. Soulburn is a crushing song. And The Twin Stranger, in particular, that's some good shit right there. Yeah, not much more I need to really say about it. I think it's a hell of an album. I was expecting something that was more akin to, like, I guess, like, Early Worm, or maybe something equivalent, like maybe Incantation, but no, I was wrong, and honestly, I was kind of glad to be wrong, because sometimes I do like something different in my music. But yeah, killer stuff. I can't help but and really enjoy it. Good stuff, guys. Really, really, really good stuff. Now for my penultimate album, and one I just got done listening to a couple days ago. Typo Negative, Life is Killing Me. This is a 2024 reissue on Roadrunner Records, but this is the, I guess technically the, hold on. Yeah, the fifth studio album. I had to kind of rethink because if you want to count Origin of the Feces, which was more of a, the reissue, like a quote live album of like renditions of different tracks, I guess you can count that album as a whole. But this is technically their fifth studio album as a whole. But yeah, this is a 2-disc version, and there's some different like versions and mixes of on the 2-disc one, and one song that I'll talk about towards the end of the album. But yeah, I believe when I did my typo ranking, this was either second to last on my list or around that area. If I were to re-rank my typo albums, this one would probably be my least favorite, only because they're coming off of probably the most depressing album that they could have ever thought of making, and probably the most depressing album I've ever listened to, period, in World Coming Down. And they come on this album here, and while they kind of have the similar themes with World Coming Down, there's a bit of a different flavor to the mix here. Like, you have some more kind of poppy elements on this album, and stuff that's a little more equivalent to the Ramones in some ways. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, I do love me the Ramones, it kind of feels a little bit out of left field. And I just talked about with the Temple of the Void album, I kind of like different things in my music, but the kind of weird, shift in the sound that they were going for was a little bit out of left field. And while the sound's not bad, upon re-listen, this is a great album, but in terms of the typo rankings, this will probably be my least favorite album as a whole. But there's still some good stuff on this album. Like, I Don't Want to Be Me. That is a hell of a song, and one of the big singles off this album as well. Todd's Ship Gods. That is a crunchy fucking riff right there. A Dish, Best Served Coldly. That is a doomy bastard. Life Is Killing Me is catchy. Nettie, which talks about Peter's mother, is really nice. Excuse me. Let's see. Mighty Key. Give me that. Which stands for I don't know. If you don't kill me, I might have to kill you. Or I'm going to have to kill you, which is pretty funny. I will admit though, on the follow-up track to that, Angry Itch, I feel like that song on If You Don't Kill Me, I'm Gonna Have to Kill You, I felt like that should have been more of what Angry Itch was. Because Angry Itch is more of a kind of hardcore, kind of punk song, but you still have the typo flavor to it. I felt like that should have been on the track prior, because that feels like a hardcore song, but kind of missed the mark a little bit. Still a good song, but I felt like there was a bit of a missed opportunity there. Anesthesia is pretty cool, and The Dream Is Dead is solid. But again, there's just there's some filler tracks on this album, and 15 tracks, a little bit over an hour, kind of a bit long in the tooth, if you ask me. If they would have cut off some songs and just kind of like cut the fat off the album, I think it would have flowed a little bit better. And also the song We Were Electrocute's just stupid. That's just a dumb song in particular. But I do like this saying here. If God was suddenly condemned to live the life which he has afflicted on men, he would have killed himself. Alexander Dumas, 1802 to 1870. That's funny right there. But one song I wanted to point out on the 2-disc version of this album is a song Out of the Fire, which, for those of you wrestling fans, that was actually supposed to be the theme for Kane when he unmasked in, I believe, July of 2003. But they ultimately went with the Slow Chemical song by Finger 11. And as much as how solid this typo song is, I think the Finger 11 song fit better for Kane, because, I don't know, I just felt like with this song in particular, I felt like it was a little too goth lenient for that character at the time. Like, if it was for maybe a different wrestler, like maybe Mordecai to a lesser, well, I don't know if Mordecai would have fit for that character either, because that was kind of like the more heaven version of The Undertaker at that time. But I don't know, that's a good song, but I think the Soul Chemical song fit Kane better in my opinion. But at least they tried with that one. But Life Is Killing Me, still a really damn good song for Typo. Again, there's still a lot of turmoil in Peter's life, but when Dead Again came out, Peter was basically, done with the rock and roll lifestyle. He would occasionally have a glass of wine and all that stuff, but fortunately, 7 years later, the big man would unfortunately leave this earth, unfortunately. We still miss you to this very day, Peter, and I'm willing to bet he's still crooning chicks in the afterlife as we are speaking. I think my pillow just got pregnant by association right there, but, good album, but it could have been better if they would have just cut the frills and fat off it, in my personal opinion. Which leads me to the last album, and an album I actually just got done listening to. Urgahol, Goatcraft Torment. This is the 4th studio album from this Norwegian black metal act. Let's see, the 5th studio album for this Norwegian black metal act. I've been hearing some good stuff about Urgahol, mainly their earlier stuff I heard it was pretty good as well, and the couple albums afterwards I heard was really good as well. And it's actually kind of interesting to point out that this is the last album I bought that is actually out of print. So this is the last original copy that I bought, which I think is pretty unique, if you ask me. And, the first half, it was solid for what it was, but I really didn't think anything of it until the second half kicked in, and that's when shit started getting really good. Like, the title track is really damn good in particular. Anti-Religious, that's a fun song as well. Dots Margie Till Helvete. I apologize if I fucked that song up. There's some moments that really remind me of Dark Throne, especially around this time when they were kind of going more punk with the black metal style as well. You get some kind of stereotypical stuff like Satanic Black Metal and Hell, which is dumb song, but that's really good musically. Gathered Under the Horns is really good. Sentiment of Chaos and Insteg Nerimeter Lucifer, I believe that's how you say that word, is really damn good as well. I really enjoyed that song in particular. It's a good album. Nothing really more to say about it, personally. But, it's just a good album. Jesus Christ, horn much? Good God, dude. I'm sorry I have my window open. It's been really warm in the house, especially I just got done, I just got done cleaning. I was sweating bullets. Sometimes they do that shit. I don't know why. But anyways, Urgahol album was really damn good. Really good stuff right there. So, folks, that concludes this collection update video for you guys. What you guys think of these CDs? Let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment, tap the big red subscribe button, and tap the bell so when I upload, you guys be notified. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and most importantly, join the herd. Talk to you in the next video. Peace out.